Conserving our natural resources. An ecosystem is all the living biological parts of an environment, as well as the non-living parts with which they interact. This means that an ecosystem is composed of plants, animals, and insects, as well as the air, soil, water, and sunlight that affect them. An agricultural system, whether it's producing plant or animal products, is an intricate part of its ecosystem, the agroecosystem. The agroecosystem affects the diversity of other plants and animals within the ecosystem, the amount of sunlight that reaches the soil level, and the quality of air, soil, and water. The agricultural system affects the natural resources of the agroecosystem. Producers of plant and animal products rely on Earth's natural resources to help them convert the energy and nutrients provided by natural resources into food and fiber products. These natural resources fall into one of three categories: non-renewable, such as fossil fuels; renewable, such as soil, plants, and water; and inexhaustible, such as wind and sunlight. Non-renewable energy is a natural energy resource that cannot be replaced as quickly as it is used. This includes fossil fuels that come from the earth in the form of petroleum or oil, coal, and natural gas. We obtain fossil fuels by drilling and mining for them. These extraction processes adversely affect the environment. Because they take millions of years to form, fossil fuels are available in limited supply and will not be replaced. About 70% of the electricity used by humans is generated by fossil fuels, so there is concern about these limits. Pollution is also a concern. Fossil fuels produce energy by combustion, and this burning pollutes the environment with sulfur oxides, nitrogen oxides, and carbon dioxide. Over 90% of coal used in the U.S. is for the production of electricity in power plants. Coal is burned to produce steam that powers the turbines and generators that produce electricity. Agricultural systems are tied to coal consumption through the power supplied to fertilizer, pesticide, and processing plants, irrigation pumps, and lighting for seedling and animal production. Conservation involves farming techniques that optimize fertilizer and pesticide use, alternative energy sources for production and pumps, and energy-saving lighting. Like coal, petroleum, or oil is mainly used for fuel, but many everyday items made with plastic, rubber, and synthetic fibers are petroleum-based. With these items, conservation involves recycling and reducing our usage. Gasoline and diesel fuels are used in planting, cultivating, and harvesting crops, and in transporting crops and livestock. Agricultural producers can help conserve our petroleum supply by reducing fuel usage with fuel-efficient engines and more efficient transportation. As researchers come up with an abundant supply of alternative fuels, and demand makes them widely available, petroleum-based fuels can be replaced with these alternatives. Consumers can purchase products that are produced locally. Natural gas burns cleaner than coal and oil, and it is a major energy source for electricity generation for the power grid. Like coal, agriculture affects our supply of natural gas through electricity consumption and specific uses such as crop drying and processing. Natural gas is also used to synthesize ammonia in the production of inorganic fertilizers and pesticides. This process uses a very small percentage of available natural gas, but the cost of natural gas makes up about 90% of the cost of producing fertilizer. Therefore, when natural gas prices increase, so does the price of inorganic fertilizer, which is essential to the production of many high-yielding crops like corn and rice. Earth provides other natural resources that are renewable, which means they can be renewed over time. These include soil, water, fish and wildlife, forests and plants, and air. The U.S. manages its renewable resources under conservation agencies that help agricultural producers to monitor their systems and maintain good stewardship of the environment. Soil is extremely valuable to the agroecosystem. Agricultural systems affect the quality of soil if nutrients are depleted, beneficial organisms are killed by pesticides, and tillage contributes to erosion. Soil has to be carefully managed by producers in order to maintain its usefulness. Water is another extremely valuable resource. From lawns to crop fields, large amounts of water are used for irrigation across the United States, especially in seasons and areas where there is little precipitation. Some irrigation water is pumped from aquifers beneath the ground. Some comes from naturally flowing springs and from reservoirs created by dams, and by collecting runoff from rain and snowmelt. Access to this water is controlled as it flows throughout irrigation districts. As a valuable, renewable resource, water should be used as efficiently as possible. Monitoring and maintaining irrigation systems can avoid wasteful leakage. Drip irrigation systems and LEPA or LESA systems allow for efficient irrigation. Tailwater recovery systems can help farmers reuse water runoff and can keep sediments, pesticides, and fertilizers from impacting nearby water sources. Renewable resources such as wind, water, the sun, and geothermal heat provide inexhaustible energy sources. Our use of these energy resources won't deplete their supply, and they don't produce energy through combustion as fossil fuels do, so they provide clean energy. We often refer to these as alternative energy sources because they are cleaner, more sustainable alternatives to using non-renewable fossil fuels. We still have hurdles to overcome in the widespread use of these inexhaustible energy resources. Some areas of the country lack an ample supply to efficiently produce energy, and setting up the infrastructure to use them can be costly and can sometimes disturb ecosystems. But many farmers are still in business today because an alternative energy source, like wind energy, has provided additional income. Another energy alternative comes from renewable biomass. Biomass is organic matter used as a source of fuel or energy. Examples of biomass are wood, crop plants, and organic waste like manure. Agricultural systems consume energy, but they can also provide alternative energy resources, such as ethanol from corn or methane gas from manure. Biomass from row crops like corn and from perennial crops like switchgrass can be burned to heat buildings and create steam for electricity. Alternative energy sources, such as wind energy and biomass energy, have the potential to make a rural community or farming operation self-sufficient in its energy needs. Around the world, agricultural producers are trying to meet food, feed, and fuel demands, while using increasingly limited natural resources, polluting less, and maintaining profitability. 21st century agricultural systems will continue to progress towards more sustainable agricultural practices in order to meet the demands of the population and still maintain the planet. And now, let's explore the core. Why does combustion produce pollution? And why do some combustion reactions produce more pollution than others? A combustion reaction is an exothermic reaction because it releases heat energy when chemical bonds are broken and formed. The heat energy released is then converted into the mechanical energy that moves tractors and generates electricity. A combustion reaction always uses oxygen as a reactant to produce this heat energy. The amount of oxygen available to the combustion reaction is the key to how much pollution is produced. The fossil fuels used in combustion reactions are hydrocarbons, which means they are composed primarily of hydrogen and carbon. When oxygen reacts with these hydrocarbon fuels to produce heat, the other products are water molecules and molecules that contain carbon, such as carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, and carbon soot. Each pair of hydrogen atoms from the hydrocarbon will bond with one oxygen atom to form water molecules. Oxygen atoms that are left over will bond with the carbon to produce a carbon-containing molecule. This carbon-containing molecule can contribute to pollution. In this complete combustion reaction, we see methane fuel react with oxygen to produce carbon dioxide, water, and heat energy. The 8 hydrogen atoms bond with 4 oxygen atoms to form 4 water molecules. This leaves 4 oxygen atoms to bond with the 2 carbon atoms to produce 2 molecules of carbon dioxide. If the air supply to a combustion reaction is limited, then there is reduced oxygen for the reaction. This results in an incomplete combustion reaction, which may produce poisonous carbon monoxide. If the amount of oxygen available to the reaction is further limited, then the incomplete combustion reaction will produce carbon soot particles. Some carbon-containing molecules, such as carbon monoxide, pollute the air because they are acutely toxic. Carbon dioxide, though it is necessary for photosynthesis, can pollute when it builds up in excess and can enhance the greenhouse effect. Today's SAT word is sustainable. Sustainable is an adjective describing something capable of being maintained without exhausting natural resources or causing severe damage to an ecosystem. In the lesson, we learned that energy from inexhaustible resources, like wind and sunlight, are sustainable alternatives to fossil fuels because they don't exhaust natural resources or pollute the environment.